more. We're going to find out more about coffee today from one of our favorite roasters here in Mississippi. We have Kenneth Thomas. He's the Chief Roasting Officer, as he likes to call himself, for Umble Coffee. And it's out of Starkville, but you have made your way to Central Mississippi for a pretty big reason. What brought you to town?
So thanks for having me, and we are in town for Mistletoe Marketplace,
which is one of the premier shopping destinations for pre-holiday, I guess, shopping. It's a pretty big deal. It's in the new Trademark Center this year. How's that?
It is. It looks fantastic, and we were there. We were there last year and this year, and so it looks great.
I love whenever I can pair my guests with the perfect national day. And sadly, I didn't pair you, Kenneth, with National Coffee Day. That would have been really smart, really smart. Yeah. So the next best thing for having a coffee guru in the studio today on Good Things would be it being National Donut Day. Because can you really find a better beverage for a delicious donut than a hot cup of coffee? I don't know. So we're asking you on the Good Things Facebook group and, of course, the C Spire text line. Please don't text and drive. 601-879-4395. Who's got the best donut? Can you fill in the blank? Doesn't matter where it's at. It's props if it's a Mississippi-based company or local. But we want to know either what is your favorite donut and then who has the best. So, Kenneth, who would top that for you?
So, we're in Starkville, so we're a little partial to Shipley's donut there in Starkville.
Well, on the Good Things Facebook group, Shipley's is coming in pretty hot and heavy, and I think they're one who doesn't add a lot of frill to their donuts, right? It's just good
donuts.
Just good donuts.
Yep.
But you did give me, you may cheat on Shipley's just a little bit today now that you're in Central Mississippi. What's your plans, Kenneth, when you leave Good Things?
So literally after here, my wife told me that I have to go pick up donuts at District Donuts, I think is the name. I've actually never been, and I've heard a lot of good things about it, so I'm going to go check it out.
They are here central, but I think they have a location in New Orleans, and they do, from what I've seen from the photos, very dramatic donuts. Like it's not
the big chunks,
or maybe it's just decorative. It's very artisan-like, and so I think it's visually as well as deliciously appealing to customers. But you'll have to let me know. That's me going off of other folks who have sworn by it. So I think you're making a good choice on your way back to Starkville. But you are the king of coffee, at least in terms of what we think of here on Good Things. How long has Umble now been in business?
Umble's been in business here in Mississippi since about 2017, and we're one of very few what I'd call specialty coffee roasters in the state. So we're just trying to bring some great coffee to the state of Mississippi.
So you don't grow the coffee here.
That's correct.
Right. And if anyone tells you that, they're probably misleading.
Yes.
Okay, you just come right out with it.
Yes.
Lying with it. But you can do the actual roasting here. Can be. Okay, so where does Umble source its coffee from?
We only do single origin coffees, and that's just kind of one of our things. We don't do any blends, and we have a couple of importers that we use. There's a guy named Sam who's an Ethiopian in Baltimore who's a good friend of mine, and we source a lot of our Ethiopian through him because he goes to Origin a couple of times a year. He knows all the farmers. We actually have a Zambian coffee that we've talked about before where we give back to an orphanage there in Zambia, which is kind of cool, and we have like a direct relationship with them. And then we've got a few others, Brazil, Colombia. We've got a decaf, which is also Colombian. So,
we talk a lot here on Good Things about supporting our local businesses, which obviously as a local roaster, you are considered a small business here in Mississippi. But what small business roasters do or local roasters do that I feel like sometimes gets overlooked by the larger brands is y'all connect with other small businesses in, countries where coffee does grow. Kind of like the same difference from buying your sweet potatoes or your watermelons or whatever it may be from your little, from the back of a truck stand or your local farmer's market. Here, y'all do that from a coffee perspective just across the pond.
Right, exactly.
So when you shop local here, you're shopping local there.
Yes,
A
and
little more, probably a little more distance. It's not real
Yeah.
local, but you're still supporting smaller operations.
Yeah, there's still a story there, and you're definitely supporting them because in a lot of these countries, they just don't have a lot of stability. So you're trying to lend to some stability.
So I think I was trying to make the round robin that it's good. Like, it's good all the way around
Yes.
when you start to think about something that I think so many of us enjoy every day is at least a cup. I don't know anybody who enjoys coffee only enjoys a cup. It's at least 2 cups, and then you start to
Yes,
wonder about
3.
the 3 and
Yep.
sort of so forth. So you are also a doctor by day.
Correct.
So how does Dr. Kenneth find his way into also Chief Roasting Officer?
Yeah, so good question. I would say the biggest thing is I have a fantastic wife, and she is very gracious.
That is a great start to your answer.
Yes, and she puts up with a lot. Past that, I'd say just time management and a little bit of craziness.
A little bit of craziness. What's kept you in it through the pandemic and all?
Well, so we actually have, when you look at the pandemic, one of the things in coffee is things started to excel in, like, say, grocery store coffee and places like that, as opposed to the coffee shops temporarily went down in sales. So we've actually expanded into some Kroger's, Brooks Grocery in Tupelo, so several places that has helped us as far as sustainability.
As well as on the campus of Mississippi State. If we've got students listening to Good Things, they can now find Umbles there.
Right. So basically, MSU Dining Services came to us, and we have switched, or they have switched over as a campus, and they have our coffee. So it has, I don't want to say it's kicked it up a notch, but it's kicked it up a notch.
Well, you and then the students' ability to stay awake longer, maybe, which
Absolutely.
I'm curious. So you have your different flavors,
Yeah.
Kenneth. What is like the MSU? What are they? What did they choose?
What do they go with? So they do all of our coffees, and it depends on what venue. So, like, for example, in the bakery there, they tend to serve our lighter roast, and then in the dining halls, they serve what's called our house or our darker roast, and then the same thing for catering.
I think back to the only time I've been sort of displayed options was when I was getting married and making the cake, and you go for like the cake tasting.
Yeah.
So just like, did MSU come in to Umbles there and you just give them like a palette or like a, what's the word I'm looking for? A big sample of coffees for them to sort of try?
We do. So if anybody, a coffee shop, a campus, anybody comes to us and says, we'd be interested in your coffee, then they're going to get several samples. And we just basically work with them because we're mostly like online and wholesale distributor. And we try to support Mississippi's coffee shops and support groceries and, everybody's house and just go from there.
And just go from there. Well, you went from there. You started as just an idea to make a better coffee. From a doctor's perspective, where did you see that there could be improvement in terms of the coffee we drink every day?
Coffee is the highest thing when you look at antioxidants, anti-inflammatories. When you drink a cup of black coffee that you can put in your body on the entire day, and that's compared to like red wine, green tea, blueberries, all that stuff. It's just not marketed like that. And so we really wanted to kind of niche down on that and see where we could make that available, especially in Mississippi. I mean, if we're honest, we love each other, but we're not necessarily the healthiest state. And it's an area that I think we can, but we're really good at food. And so this is an area that you can be really good at the quality, and it also happens to be very healthy for you.
So it's like just a switch. It's just
Correct.
like you're already the habit is already there. We're already in the habit of waking up and having our cup of coffee, or like you and I now in the afternoon doing our afternoon cup of joe. So just making it a more or a healthier option you can just add in the benefits. Like, it feels like, you're already doing it, so why not take it up a notch with its quality? Is what I'm hearing.
Got it.
we're hearing. Tiffany in Carrollton wants to know if you guys do instant coffee. We'll get to that question and more donut responses coming up next here on Good Things. More, we're finding out that you want more donuts. It is National Donut Day. We're having a good time sharing where or who has the best donut. Either answer that question or you can just share your favorite kind of donut over on the text line 601-879-4395 as well as on the Good Things Facebook group. We've got 2 for Tater Nut in Ocean Springs.
I think it's Tato Nut.
Tato Nut. So Tato. Okay, well, one has a typo. And then so Tato Nut in Ocean Springs. And
Never heard of that.
Never heard of it, but there you go. Howard's Donuts is from John in Hardman. And then Chris, you said the donut hole in Destin, red velvet with cream filling. It's sinful. That sounds absolutely delicious. And Jeff in Oxford, you say your mom makes homemade donuts, and I feel like that is an accomplishment. I feel like it may be easy. I'm sure now with Pinterest and all the things, but still, it seems like that would be hard to do. But I want to make sure, though, Kenneth, who is the founder and owner of Umble Coffee out of Starkville, Mississippi, he's in the studio with us today on Good Things. But you're also here for Mistletoe Market, so if we're out shopping and doing our Christmas there, make sure you stop by and say hi. But Tiffany and Carrollton, Kenneth wanted to know, do y'all do instant coffee?
We don't. So the interesting thing being a small business is you have to reach that threshold for we'll say producing a batch of fill in the blank, whether it's moving into K-cups or moving into instant. And we're getting there. We're pretty close to making some of those big moves. Right now we just do bags, basically a whole bean or ground.
You know, it's interesting when you talk about being a small business owner or making those decisions because you have such an industry. You said coffee. Right. Obviously, you're not growing the beans, you're roasting it. Okay, well, that's the first decision. But then you can roast it, then you can ground it. Do you sell it from your storefront and actually brew it? Or now you have all of these could, would, shoulds, might, if. In the beginning, what was like just the single thing you wanted to get done, Kenneth?
When you look at coffee, you have the farmer, the exporter, the importer, the roaster, and then what we'd call the end user, which that may be coffee shop, then end user, or just end user. And so we really wanted to focus down on doing roasting really well. And we didn't see many of those in Mississippi, and so we thought that maybe there was a market there, and I love it. I really enjoy it.
You've kind of nerded out when it comes to the world of roasting. I mean, even pre-pandemic, you went around, you traveled, you won roasting competitions far and wide. Have you gotten to get back into that at all?
So we are, I think it's either 3 or 4 years running, top 15 best specialty coffee roasters in the U.S., and that includes like all the big dogs and stuff like that. So I'm supposed to go to Boston, I think next spring or next fall, somewhere in there, for another finalist thing. So same thing, about top 15, something like that.
So are you even preparing for that now?
I am not.
You're not thinking about that now.
No.
You got so much else to sort of think about. Well, when you think about roasting or how to improve it, I mean, do you think about roasting, should I say, in a ways to improve it, or do you feel like once you sort of hit your stride and you find the secret recipe, you just stick with what works?
Well, no. So that's the short answer. So the medium answer is coffee is like an agricultural product. And so it's going to vary year to year, season to season, varietal to varietal, all that kind of stuff. And so even last night, for example, someone was asking me, because I had some we call samples in, and I was roasting them because I wanted to see between 4 or 5 different beans coming from Ethiopia, which is going to match our flavor that we want to bring out of the coffee the best. You know, it's like Coca-Cola being predictable as far as the flavor goes.
So you think about that from batch to sort of batch.
Correct.
which is so interesting. I don't think about none of that when I get up in the morning and my feet hit
and
the
it
floor.
just tastes the same.
And I walk to my coffee pot. And I want to go back to that this is a habit that so many of us have already sort of formed. I mean, you're either a coffee drinker or you're not. We're not, and it's that one place, though, that you could make an improvement in terms of for your health and for your wellness by choosing a higher sort of quality. As a dietitian, I can get that. But I also get that it's hard, Kenneth, to sort of change routine of purchasing, right? I mean, we do it with things that it's like an autopilot. We just like what we like. We do what we do. Whatever. So how do you encourage folks who have such a strong connection to what it should smell like, it should taste like, the price point, all those, to maybe stretch that a little bit and think outside the box and try something new?
Well, I would get it down to one word, and it's hustle. We have to get out there, and we have to, meet these customers, or our peers one-on-one, and just crack the door a little bit. Let them taste this, let them see this. And, we're also always trying to grow like social media, and we try to do as much education there as we can. And so it's just a lot of hustle, because change is hard.
Change is hard, and just sort of doing, because we kind of like what we like. But I also think if you realize if I'm doing something I'm already in habit of doing is drinking my coffee, but you mean there's a better for me coffee that can give me the same benefits that I like of coffee, which is the perk in the morning, then why not give it a try? Is the benefit, especially if you put it, say you drink 2 cups a day, compound that interest over the next, 40 years that you're going to be alive? Are you telling me that those antioxidants and the nutrients in a better coffee could provide me a better health return?
For sure. So they've done several studies over time, and when you look at coffee drinkers, we'll say black coffee drinkers versus, coffee with stuff in it versus not having any coffee at all, they tend to be healthier longer, just across the board. So
explain from your perspective what the antioxidants, the flavonoids, all that are. We know those terms, they're familiar, I know what they are, but how would you explain them in terms of benefits?
So I'll shift gears to more my doctor side. Think about it like it all boils down to inflammation. Most problems that we have from a medical standpoint originate with inflammation. And antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, in simplicity, you're just minimizing that inflammation.
That's a good answer. And so if you do that over time, obviously, if you drank better coffee and ate your vegetables too, we would really go a long way. But you know what? We're coming up on the holiday season. That's why so many are making their way to Central Mississippi anyway to shop at Mistletoe. It kicks off the holiday shopping season. We've heard all about the delays in chain, in terms of supply chain and all that. So that's why here on Good Things, we really push you to think outside the box this year and shop local for your Christmas presents. And then you don't even have to worry about whether your whatever's going to be here from overseas or not. Although technically your product is from overseas. We won't go into that technicality.
But we take care of getting it here.
Getting it here. I was kind of contradicting myself. But the point is, think outside. I mean, try something new. Y'all have a lot of great options this time of year if they want to sort of see what Umble's about. What is that?
So, of course, we've got the bags. We're about to, if you come to Mistletoe today or tomorrow, you can get directly. We have some brand new mugs that are pretty awesome. We'll get those on the website very, very soon. And we do some gift packages, some stuff we put together. And I'll tell you another thing. We just picked up recently with, for example, Mississippi Gift Company. That would be another good place to pick up Umble in just a nice, neat, everything's already there type of gift, wrap or basket.
So just ideas for you to think about, think outside the box. If they're like, hey, I want to treat myself, I'm not really looking to buy it for anybody else. Yeah. Is there a way they can get a taste of it?
They can. So the easiest place, just go to the website, so umblecoffee.com, and they can get it there. And then there's tons of places in the state that now either serve our coffee directly on drip, or you can actually get the bags. And they can direct message us on social media or through the website, and we'll be happy to answer those questions.
And then, too, you said you've now found your way into Kroger.
Yes.
As well as, what are some of the bigger places?
So Kroger, Brooks Grocery, those are probably two of the bigger places.
All righty. Well, you can look in your coffee aisle and see Umble with the beautiful bird there, and know you're shopping Mississippi, which I think is pretty doggone cool. Kenneth, we'll welcome you back anytime you're in the area. Best of luck at Mistletoe and all the other local shops there. But stick with us. You got more coming up next.